As somebody that started out as a traditional artist, color was something that I was afraid of for a very long time, and I refused to do it because it seemed too permanent. I didn't want to screw up anything that I had already thought was good. So I made the decision to switch to digital just to, practice color. And I ended up making it my permanent place of art. Now that I have a few years of digital under my belt, I'd like to share a couple of things that might help you guys get over your fear of color, or might help you understand it a bit more. Now, as we all know, color is a very, very powerful tool for an artist. It's something that can really make or break a piece, something that changes the entire mood of a piece. It defines pieces. But obviously, you need to know the rules before you can break them or make them your own. Something that really helped me in the beginning, surprisingly, was a feature that was already built into Procreate, and I'm sure is built into other digital platforms as well, and that is color picking. Now, starting out using color, I obviously didn't really know about this feature. I was very new to digital, but eventually I learned about it, and it saves lives, man. At first, I color picked a lot, just so I could learn the basics, like how shadows affect colors, light affects colors, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. But now I hardly use it. The only time I really use color picking is when I'm looking at like an old piece and redoing it, like this. That said, I mainly use color picking as a form of practice, something to understand colors, not to flat out steal colors from other people and use it in the same exact way in my pieces. I did for a couple of different shades here and there maybe, but other than that, it was kept to a practice. And really playing around with colors myself, learning and experiencing those things for myself really helped me find out what it is I like to play around with and use as far as color palettes go. So if you're a beginner, you're just starting out with digital, I would highly suggest looking into color picking. And again, please don't use it reference for reference, like the exact replica of the reference on your art. Don't do that. It's not, for practice it's okay, but for posting it as your own, not really. Okay. Another thing you might want to look into though is opacity. I tend to find a good opacity brush really helpful when it comes to picking my colors. Here, let me show you what I mean. Now, the brush that I use for almost every single piece that I do is the flat brush. As you can see, it has a very controlled, I would say, opacity. The harder you press down, the more opacity you have, right? And doing so makes it a lot easier to blend. So if I were to take a saturated red and come along the edges here, you have this red, you have this kind of brown, and then you have this in between. And then I could use this in between as, kind of a gradient. Makes it easier to blend, gives me new colors to choose from. It's honestly perfect. It's a little hack that I've been using for a while now, and it is amazing. I love it. So next time you have trouble dealing with either blending or finding colors for your characters or whatnot, I would suggest using some kind of brush with low-ish opacity. And it doesn't have to be the flat brush. I mean, I know a lot of people suggest the medium hard round brush or just the regular round brush, and it's good. I use it sometimes, but I just prefer the flat brush. I don't know, the shape is it's really nice. And I don't usually have it down on opacity like this. It's usually full, so I don't know, must have bumped it or something. But I mean, here, this is what I used it for recently. And I mean, the anatomy, everything may not be amazing, but the gradients on this are great. I love this piece. It's what's been playing in the background for the early parts of this video. So yeah, I would highly suggest using any kind of brush with low opacity. Another thing that I'd like to rely on a lot is, all these other kind of layers. So you can duplicate your layer, put it through multiply or any of these other layers. Just, experiment, see what you like. Sometimes, I'll do the multiply layer and you just kind of erase around whatever you feel needs to be lighter or darker. Kind of like this. And then you can go in here, do, like Gaussian blur, and there you go. You got shadows. Simple as that. Or you can do something like this. where you have add for highlights, and then you erase whatever you don't want to be highlighted. You can do the opposite. And you can also use that low opacity brush to lessen the effects of whatever layer. I mean, you can always lessen the effects here in the opacity meter here. And then there you go. You got it adjusted a bit. Just a little something you might want to try. And we're back. Hopefully that was as educational for you as it was for me. Anyways, let's talk about moods. Like I mentioned earlier, colors incite mood into a piece. Usually every color is in some way associated with some kind of emotion, whether it be blue for sadness, or red for anger or passion, or purple for loyalty, I guess. I mean, that's what people associate it with here. But I feel like the colors, the lighting can really, really alternate how you feel about a piece. For instance, take this piece that I recently redid. Now, at some point, I wanted to lower the background a bit and make it into like this sunset scene so we could get a bit of a, bittersweet kind of feel. But I opted for just like a regular skyline, I guess, for more of an unsettling feel. I mean, look at her. She's all beaten up, but she's smiling. And it's like the middle of the day. I don't know, it for me it makes it more jarring. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but for me that's the feeling it gives. Now, admittedly, for me, I don't know too much about color theory, just the stuff about complementary colors being on opposite sides or next to each other on the color wheel. Other than that, though, I have to admit most of my coloring just kind of comes from within. I just kind of wing it most of the time. And unfortunately, as somebody that's self-taught, I don't really have a way to explain it to you guys. But I can give you a tip, sort of, that pretty much everybody uses that I know of, that is really applicable in any kind of instance, not just for colors, but for shading, for depth, for perspective, for anything, is you can always look at somebody else's art. Now, I'm not saying to compare yourselves to this, whoever you're looking at, but looking at an artist that you look up to and you really admire, looking at their work, their colors, their shading, their lighting, everything, it can really open your eyes when you take a good, long, hard look. I mean, for instance, one of my favorite artists, Sui Ishida. One thing that I notice about Sui Ishida's work is that he really makes you focus on one point. Everything else in the image may not be, absolutely packed to the gills with details, but that's kind of what makes it special. The reason why you look at that, whatever area, he wants you to, is because of that. And he uses those, bright, vibrant colors everywhere else. The main focal point is usually like monochromatic with some red in it. But that's something that I really like and I take away from a lot. I mean, a lot of my pieces have focus on the eyes. It seems to be the main theme for me, even without realizing it. I've just kind of dug myself into this thing. So I highly suggest that you give it a try too. Look to your fellow artists. Look to somebody that you admire, that you adore, you want to be like, and see what they do. See what kind of colors they use, what kind of palettes they use. Try them out. See if you like them. If you do, keep going with it. Coloring, for me at least, was always about experimentation because I was always too afraid to do so before. Taking that leap was the hardest thing that I had to do when it came to coloring. But now here I am, more confident about it than ever. And I'm certainly not the best at it, but I'm way better than the me that was afraid of it. Long story short, just don't be afraid of it. Anyways, if any of these tips helped, any of them at all, I would love if you liked the video. It really helps me going forward. And I mean, I'm so close to 2K subs, it would be so nice if you subscribe there too. No pressure. But I'd be grateful if any of these really actually helped you. So let me know in the comments if you have any other tips for anybody else that may be curious and didn't find anything here. Maybe they can go look in the comments and you can help them out there. Anyways, hope you guys have a great day. See ya.